The stars looked different from the bridge of the USS Horizon. Captain Alan Frost stood with his hands behind his back, watching the vast emptiness of space through the main viewport. Earth's first true interstellar ship wasn't much compared to what might exist out there, but it was theirs, human-made and human-crewed. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual signal," said Communications Officer Jack Rivera. His fingers moved quickly across his control panel. "It's not matching any known pattern." Frost walked over to Rivera's station. "Is it natural?" "No, sir, definitely artificial." "And it's getting stronger." Lieutenant Olivia Green looked up from her station. As Earth's best xenolinguist, she had studied theoretical alien communication patterns for years. Now she might finally get to test her knowledge. "Put it through the translator matrix," Frost ordered. The bridge crew waited in silence. Humanity had sent signals into space for over a century. They had always hoped for a response, but also feared it. "Sir," Green said, her voice barely above a whisper, "I think it's a first contact protocol. Someone is saying hello." Frost took a deep breath. "Alert Earth Command. Tell them we may have made contact. The USS Horizon wasn't alone in space for long." Within 6 hours, 3 ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They moved faster than anything humans had built, covering the distance to Earth's orbit in minutes rather than days, from Earth's orbital command station. Admiral Samantha Ortiz watched the alien vessels approach. They were beautiful in a strange way, shaped like giant teardrops with a surface that shifted colors like oil on water. "Are our defenses ready?" she asked her second-in-command. "Yes, ma'am. Though I'm not sure how effective they'll be against that level of technology," Ortiz nodded. "Let's hope we don't need to find out." The aliens called themselves the Azurian Collective. They were not one species, but 7, united by technology and a shared history. Their translator systems quickly adapted to human languages, making communication possible, if not perfect. "We have observed your world for many cycles," said the Azurian representative, a tall being with 4 arms and skin that seemed to shimmer. "Your radio signals reached our monitoring stations long ago." The first meeting took place in a neutral location, a specially built station in Earth orbit. Captain Frost and Lieutenant Green represented the military, while diplomats from Earth's unified government handled the official talks. "We welcome peaceful contact with your collective," said Earth's chief diplomat, a calm woman named Susan. "Bailey, we have much to learn from each other." The Azurian seemed to study her carefully. "Your species develops technology very quickly, especially weapons." Green noticed something in the translation. The Azurian word for weapons carried additional meanings: danger, threat, unpredictability. "We develop all technologies quickly," Bailey replied. "It's in our nature to explore and understand." "Your nature concerns us," said the Azurian. "We have studied your broadcasts. You fight often among yourselves." The diplomatic team tried to explain human history, how wars had decreased over time, how the unified government had brought stability. But Green could tell the aliens weren't convinced. Later, in a private meeting room, Green shared her observations with Captain Frost and Admiral Ortiz. "They're afraid of us," she said. "The translation matrix is showing bias in their language choices. They consistently use terms that associate humans with danger." Frost frowned. "But why? Their technology is clearly superior." "I don't think it's just about technology," Green explained. "When they talk about Earth's military capacity, their language patterns show extreme caution. I think they're specifically afraid of our potential for warfare." Admiral Ortiz considered this. "Could be useful information." The meetings continued for 3 days. The Azurians shared limited information about their collective while asking many questions about Earth they seemed particularly interested in: human military forces, weapons development, and command structures. On the 4th day, the Azurians requested to observe some of Earth's military installations. The request was politely declined. "We value our security," Bailey explained, "just as I'm sure you value yours." The Azurian delegation left the meeting early that day. When they returned, their attitude had changed. We have reviewed our surveillance data of your planet, the lead Azurian announced. The use of the word surveillance caused a stir among the human delegation. You've been spying on us? Bailey asked. We observe all developing species, the Azurian replied without apology. Your nuclear arsenals, biological weapons research, and space-based military systems indicate a species too dangerous to join the galactic community without restrictions. The room grew tense. Frost noticed Green typing frantically on her datapad. What kind of restrictions? Admiral Ortiz asked. Disarmament, said the Azurian. Removal of all weapons capable of causing mass destruction. Limits on your fleet expansion. Monitoring of your colonies. Bailey's diplomatic calm finally broke. Those terms are completely unacceptable. Earth will not surrender its right to self-defense. The Azurian's skin changed color, darkening to a deep blue. Then Earth will face isolation. No trade, no cultural exchange, no technological sharing. You will be contained until you prove yourselves worthy of trust. Green passed her datapad to Frost. On it, she had written, Translation, error, they think our defensive postures are aggressive threats. They've misunderstood everything. Frost tried to intervene. There seems to be a misunderstanding. If we could... There is no misunderstanding, the Azurian cut him off. We have seen your weapons, we have analyzed your war strategies. We know what humans are capable of. With that, the Azurian delegation stood as one and left the room. Within an hour, their ships had departed Earth orbit, leaving behind only a small automated satellite to monitor Earth's activities. In the emergency meeting that followed, Earth's leaders debated their options. They're clearly preparing for some kind of military action against us, said one general. We should build up our defenses immediately. We can't match their technology, another pointed out. Did you see how fast their ships moved? Admiral Ortiz had been quiet throughout the discussion. Finally, she spoke. They're afraid of the wrong thing, she said. Everyone turned to look at her. They're afraid of our ships, our weapons, our military capacity, Ortiz continued. But that's not what makes humans dangerous. What does? Asked Bailey. Ortiz smiled slightly. Our ability to adapt, to think differently, to change the rules when we can't win the game. She looked around the room. They're watching for one kind of threat while we develop another. And that's exactly what we're going to do. As the others began to understand her meaning, a plan started to form, a plan that would eventually become the greatest trick humanity ever played on the stars. 6 months passed since the Azurians left Earth with their ultimatum. The world's governments worked together in a way they never had before. They called their new plan the Strategic Deception Initiative. Dr. Kevin Blackwood stood before the United Earth Security Council in their underground meeting room. Maps and screens covered the walls. Blackwood wasn't a military man. He studied game theory and how to win conflicts without fighting. The Azurians expect us to build more ships, Blackwood sighed, pointing to the satellite the aliens had left to watch Earth. So we'll give them exactly what they expect to see. Admiral Ortiz nodded. While we work on our real advantage. Blackwood's plan had 3 parts. First, humans would build impressive-looking warships that the Azurians could easily see. Second, they would develop a secret technology that the aliens wouldn't expect. Third, they would learn more about the Azurians to find their weaknesses. The next day, Commander Peter Russell took charge of the new shipbuilding program. At shipyards around Earth, workers began building large space vessels with obvious weapons and shield systems. The ships looked powerful and dangerous, exactly what the Azurians feared. Make sure their satellite can see everything, Russell told his team. We want them to watch us build these ships. Meanwhile, in a hidden facility under the ice in Antarctica, Dr. Natalie Fisher led a very different project. Her team wasn't building weapons or ships. They were working on something called Project Whisper. The Azurians use a special crystal in all their technology, Fisher explained to her scientists. We found samples in the dust their ships left behind. These crystals can receive and send signals in ways we never imagined. Fisher held up a small purple crystal that sparkled under the lab lights. If we can learn to talk to these crystals, we can talk to all Azurian technology. Lieutenant Green joined Fisher's team. Her understanding of the Azurian language helped them make progress. They don't just use words like we do, Green said. Their language includes light patterns, frequencies, and mathematical sequences. Day after day, the scientists worked to understand the alien crystals. They built special devices that could send signals to the crystals and receive answers back. They called these devices whisper nodes. One night, after weeks of failed tests, Green had an idea. "We're thinking too much like humans," she said. "What if we try to communicate with the crystals the way Azurians would?" They changed their approach. Instead of sending simple signals, they created complex patterns based on what they knew of Azurian communication. The crystal in the lab began to glow more brightly. "It's responding," Fisher said, her eyes wide with excitement. The first successful test of a whisper node was just the beginning. The team needed to be sure the Azurians couldn't detect their communication with the crystals. They ran test after test, always watching for any sign that the alien satellite noticed their work. "They're focused on our ships," Fisher told her team when they finally succeeded. "They're not looking for this kind of technology because it's not how humans traditionally fight wars. We win through information and adaptation." On the surface, Earth continued its show of military preparation. The first 10 warships were completed and began training exercises in space. The Azurians responded by sending more ships to watch the solar system. Their large, teardrop-shaped vessels kept their distance but were always visible, Commander Russell reported to Admiral Ortiz after the first space exercise. "The alien ships scanned us constantly," he said. "They seem very interested in our shield systems." "Good," Ortiz replied. "Did you show them the fake weakness like we planned?" Russell nodded. "Yes. During the third maneuver, we created a power fluctuation in the shield grid. Their scanners definitely noticed it," Ortiz smiled. "Perfect. Let them think they've found our weakness." The plan was working. The Azurians were watching exactly what the humans wanted them to see. Dr. Blackwood met with Admiral Ortiz and Dr. Fisher to discuss the next phase. "We need to extend the Whisper network," he said. "Right now, we can only communicate with crystals in our lab. We need to reach the crystals in Azurian technology." "How do we do that?" Ortiz asked. "We can't just walk onto their ships and plant our devices." Fisher looked at Green, who had been quiet during the meeting. "Tell them your idea, Lieutenant." Green took a deep breath. "We use their own surveillance against them. Their satellite watching Earth contains the same crystals. If we can send the right signal to it, we could turn it into our first off-world whisper node." Blackwood looked surprised. "Would they detect that?" "We don't think so," Fisher said. "The change would be at a level they don't monitor. They'll be too busy watching our ships to notice a subtle change in their own technology. The attempt to convert the Azurian satellite was risky. If the aliens noticed, it would reveal Earth's secret project." The team prepared for weeks, refining their signal and testing it on crystal samples. Finally, they were ready. From the Antarctic facility, they sent their carefully designed signal toward the alien satellite. Then they waited. Long minutes passed. Green watched the monitors, looking for any response. Finally, a small light on her screen turned green. "Connection established," she said quietly. "The satellite is now part of our Whisper network." The room erupted in cheers. It was their first major victory, the first step in creating an invisible web that would spread throughout Azurian technology. Admiral Ortiz received the news in her mobile command center, which changed location daily to avoid detection. "Begin the next phase," she ordered. "Start collecting information. I want to know everything about the Azurian collective, especially their internal politics." The Whisper node and the satellite began sending data back to Earth. The humans learned that the collective wasn't as united as they pretended to be. The 7 species didn't always agree, and some resented the leadership of others. "This is valuable information," Blackwood said when he reviewed the data. "We can use these divisions." 2 years after the Azurians left Earth, humans had a growing fleet of 50 warships, all designed to look impressive while hiding small whisper nodes. The real work continued in secret as the network of nodes slowly expanded. "They're watching our ships," Ortiz told her officers, "but ships aren't our real strength. Our real strength is what they can't see." The Azurians continued to build up their forces near Earth, bringing hundreds of warships to contain what they saw as a dangerous emerging power. They had no idea that with each new ship, they brought more crystals within reach of the Whisper network. The trap was being set, one crystal at a time. 3 years had passed since first contact. The space around Earth was never empty now. Azurian ships patrolled the solar system, their teardrop shapes glowing against the blackness of space. They watched the growing human fleet with obvious concern. Agent Scott Daniels walked through the diplomatic center on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The center was neutral ground where humans and Azurians could meet. Daniels wasn't really a diplomat. He worked for Earth's intelligence service, gathering information about the aliens. Daniels smiled at a four-armed Azurian named Vex. "I brought something you might like," he said, handing over a small package. Inside was a painting of an Earth sunset. Vex's skin changed color slightly, a sign of pleasure among his species. "Your world has beautiful colors," Vex said. "Thank you for this gift." Over many months, Daniels had built trust with several lower-ranking Azurians. He learned that Vex belonged to the Voth species, one of the 7 in the collective. The Voth were artists and builders who had joined the collective last. "How are things in the collective?" Daniels asked casually as they walked. "Still busy watching our dangerous ships?" Vex made a sound like quiet laughter. "The Meridians are always worried about something. They lead the collective, but not all of us share their fear of humans." This was valuable information. Daniels would report it through his secure Whisper communicator later. The Meridians were the ruling species, but there were divisions in the collective that humans could use. On Mars Colony, Chief Engineer Carol Martinez supervised a construction project. From a distance, it looked like a weapon platform, defensive system to protect the colony from attack. Workers moved large metal sections into place while Azurian observation ships watched from orbit. "Keep working at normal speed," Martinez told her team. "Don't rush or act suspicious." The truth was hidden inside the metal sections. Each piece of the platform contained a small Whisper node, carefully shielded to prevent detection. While the Azurians focused on the weapons, the real technology was being installed right under their eyes. "Test the shield grid," Martinez ordered. When the main section was complete, the shield flickered to life around the platform. It looked impressive, with the same power fluctuation that all human shields showed, the fake weakness that the aliens had been studying. "Shield test successful," reported a technician. "Both the real one and the fake weakness are working as planned," Martinez nodded. "Good, now test the Whisper nodes." This test was done with extreme caution. The nodes activated one by one, connecting to the growing network that now extended throughout the solar system. The test signal was designed to look like normal background radiation to Azurian sensors. "All nodes active," the technician confirmed. "No unusual reaction from the observation ships." The deception continued to work. The Azurians saw what humans wanted them to see: a growing military force that relied on ships and conventional weapons. They didn't see the invisible network that was spreading through their own technology. Admiral Ortiz now commanded from a secret base on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Her command center received reports from all parts of the operation. The Whisper network had expanded beyond their hopes, with nodes now active on 17 different worlds, including 3 Azurian outposts. "How did we get nodes on their outposts?" Ortiz asked during a secure briefing. Dr. Fisher explained, "We discovered that when Azurian ships scan our technology, there's a two-way exchange. Their scans send signals but also receive data back. We've been using that connection to plant very small nodes in their scanning systems." "And they don't detect this?" "No, it's like whispering under the sound of their own loud voice. They're so focused on learning about our weapons that they don't notice the subtle changes in their own systems." Lieutenant Green added, "Each node is very limited at first. But once established, it grows slowly, connecting to more crystals in their technology. Ortiz studied the display showing the spread of the Whisper network. The web is nearly complete. Begin Phase 4. Phase 4 was the riskiest part of the plan. Until now, humans had only used the Whisper network to communicate and gather information. Phase 4 would test whether they could actually influence Azurian technology. Captain Richard Boyd commanded the USS Dauntless during a patrol near Neptune. His ship was one of the newest in Earth's fleet, impressive-looking but designed according to the Deception Plan. An Azurian patrol ship approached, scanning the Dauntless with intense energy beams. "They're scanning our shield grid," reported the tactical officer. Boyd nodded. "Time for our special performance. Begin the sequence." The Dauntless's shield showed a more serious version of the fake weakness, a power fluctuation that looked like a major design flaw. At the same time, a Whisper node on the ship sent a signal to the crystals in the Azurian vessel's scanning system. "They've detected the fluctuation," the tactical officer said quietly. "And the Whisper signal was received." "Good," Boyd replied. "Let them think they found our weakness." The Azurian ship moved closer, its scans becoming more focused on the shield fluctuation. Unknown to them, each scan strengthened the connection between their ship and the Whisper network. Boyd's communication officer suddenly looked up from her station. "Sir, we're receiving data through the Whisper node. It's their tactical analysis of our shields. They think they found a critical weakness in all human shield systems." This was better than they had hoped. The Azurians weren't just seeing the fake weakness. They were developing battle plans based on it. The information was immediately sent through the Whisper network to Admiral Ortiz's command center. Within hours, reports came in from across the solar system. Azurian ships everywhere were scanning human vessels with the same focus, looking for the shield weakness. In the Antarctic Research Facility, Dr. Blackwood reviewed the incoming data with Dr. Fisher and Lieutenant Green. "They've taken the bait completely," Blackwood said. "Their entire fleet is being reconfigured to exploit this non-existent weakness." Fisher nodded. "And every scan they make strengthens our connection to their systems?" Green had been analyzing the Azurian tactical data. "There's more," she said. "The Meridian High Command has issued orders for what they call a limited disciplinary action against our fleet." "They're planning to attack soon?" Blackwood looked concerned. "Is the Whisper network ready for that level of response?" "It has to be," Fisher replied. "We've tested it on individual systems. But affecting their entire fleet at once? That will be the real test." Admiral Ortiz received the news about the planned Azurian attack with calm determination. "They're doing exactly what we expected," she told her command staff. "Now we need to make sure our fleet responds correctly. Our ships need to fight well, enough to be convincing, but still show the weakness the Azurians are counting on." Commander Russell, who had trained the fleet captains, assured her they know their roles. "They'll make it look good. The pieces were in place." The Azurians thought they had found humanity's weakness and were preparing to exploit it. They had no idea that humans had been playing a much deeper game. "Send the alert to all commands," Ortiz ordered. "The Azurians are coming. The real test of our plan is about to begin." The day of the Azurian attack began like any other. Earth's 50 warships maintained their normal patrol patterns throughout the solar system. On the surface, everything seemed calm, but every human crew was on high alert. Captain Alan Frost, now commanding the flagship USS Horizon, received the warning from Admiral Ortiz's command center on Titan. Azurian fleet approaching from multiple vectors. 300 ships confirmed. Estimated time to engagement, 40 minutes. Frost gathered his crew on the bridge. "This is what we've prepared for," he told them. "Remember your training. Make the fight look real, but follow the plan exactly." Lieutenant Rivera, still serving as communications officer, looked nervous. "Sir, we're outnumbered 6-1. "Numbers aren't everything," Frost replied with a calm smile. "Trust the plan." Across the solar system, human ships moved into defensive positions. The Azurian fleet approached with confident precision, their teardrop ships forming attack groups. They had studied human shield weaknesses for years and believed victory would be quick and decisive. Admiral Ortiz watched the tactical display. In her command center, as both fleets moved into position, Dr. Fisher and Lieutenant Green stood beside her, monitoring the Whisper network. "Are all nodes ready?" Ortiz asked. Fisher checked her datapad. "Yes, Admiral, the network is at full capacity. Every Azurian ship in the attack fleet has at least one active node." Green added, "We're receiving their tactical communications. They're completely focused on exploiting the shield weakness." Ortiz nodded. "Good, now we wait for them to commit fully to the attack." The space between Earth and Mars became the main battlefield. The Azurian ships moved with graceful coordination, their weapons glowing as they prepared to fire. The human fleet formed a defensive line, shields active and weapons ready. The Meridian commander sent a final message before attacking. "Human fleet, power down your weapons and surrender. This disciplinary action can be avoided if you accept collective authority now." Captain Frost, speaking for the human fleet, responded as planned. "The people of Earth will not surrender their right to self-defense. We stand ready." With that, the battle began. The Azurian ships opened fire, their energy weapons striking human shields in coordinated patterns. They specifically targeted the fluctuation points that they believed were weaknesses. Human ships returned fire, their weapons causing minimal damage to the superior Azurian shields. The battle looked one-sided, exactly as planned. Several human vessels suffered direct hits to their shield systems, creating spectacular but mostly harmless explosions. On the USS Dauntless, Captain Boyd ordered his crew to make their ship appear more damaged than it was. "Vent plasma from the port nacelles," he commanded. "Make it look like our shields are failing?" The Azurians pressed their advantage, focusing more firepower on ships that appeared vulnerable. Their confidence grew as they saw the human fleet struggling against their superior numbers and technology. In the first 10 minutes of battle, 3 human ships were disabled. Their shields collapsed completely. The crews abandoned ship in escape pods. Again, following the carefully designed plan, the Azurian commander sent a message throughout their fleet. "The human weakness is confirmed. Continue the attack pattern. Victory is assured." This was the moment Admiral Ortiz had been waiting for. The Azurians were fully committed to their attack strategy, believing they had the upper hand. "They're all in," Ortiz said, watching the tactical display. "Activate Whisper Protocol Alpha." Dr. Fisher entered the command into her system. Across the vast Whisper network, nodes activated simultaneously, sending a precisely designed signal to the crystals in every piece of Azurian technology. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The battle continued, with human ships appearing to lose ground. Then something remarkable occurred. Every Azurian weapon system stopped firing at once. Their ships continued to move, but they could no longer attack. The crystals that controlled their weapons had received new instructions through the Whisper network. Confusion spread through the Azurian fleet. The Meridian commander tried to restore weapon control, but nothing worked. Their technology was responding to a different authority now. Captain Frost watched from the bridge of the horizon as the Azurian attack faltered. "It's working," he said quietly. "Prepare for Phase 2." In Admiral Ortiz's command center, Lieutenant Green activated the second part of Protocol Alpha. The Whisper network began transmitting data directly into the Azurian communication systems, not weapon control this time, but information. Transmitting. "Complete human historical and cultural database," Green reported, "unfiltered and without their usual translation errors." For the first time, the Azurians were receiving accurate information about humanity, not just military data, but art, music, literature, philosophy, and the long, complex story of human development. They saw humanity's capacity for violence, but also its incredible potential for compassion, creativity, and growth. At the same time, every Azurian ship received a simple message in their own language. "We could have destroyed you at any time. We chose peace." The Meridian commander's ship, at the center of the Azurian fleet, received a direct communication request from Captain Frost. After a long pause, the commander accepted. What have you done to our weapons? The Meridian demanded, his skin darkening. With anger. We haven't damaged them, Frost replied calmly. We're simply communicating with them. We can release control at any time. Impossible. No species can interface with our crystalline technology. And yet we are. We've been doing it for years, right under your sensors. While you watched our ships and weapons, our real work was elsewhere. On the Azurian ship, screens displayed information about the Whisper network, how it had spread, how it worked, how humans had developed it in secret while distracting the collective with the fleet buildup. Your ships are undamaged but disarmed, Frost continued. We could have done this at any time over the past 4 years. We built a fleet because you expected us to build a fleet. But humans don't win through superior firepower, we win by changing the rules. The Meridian commander's 4 arms moved in a gesture of disbelief. Why reveal this now? Why not earlier? Because we needed you to understand who we really are, Frost answered. Not just what you fear we might be. Across the Azurian fleet, crews watched in amazement as their screens filled with human history and culture. They saw Earth's beauty, its diversity, its struggles and triumphs. Through the Whisper network, humanity was finally able to communicate without the mistranslations and misunderstandings that had plagued First Contact. Admiral Ortiz opened a channel to the entire Azurian High Council, bypassing their normal communication protocols. This is Admiral Samantha Ortiz of Earth. Today was meant to be a demonstration, not a war. We have shown what we could do if threatened, but what we truly want is peace. In the command center, Dr. Fisher monitored the Whisper network's status. The connections are holding. Every system is responding as designed. Lieutenant Green was analyzing the Azurian communications. They're confused, but also impressed. I'm seeing signs of respect in their language patterns now, especially from the non-Meridian species. Dr. Blackwood, who had joined them for this crucial moment, smiled slightly. Phase 4 complete. Now for the final phase, genuine diplomacy. The battle that had barely begun was already over. Humanity had won without destroying a single Azurian ship. Instead, they had changed the very nature of the conflict, turning a moment of potential destruction into an opportunity for understanding. As the human and Azurian fleets hung motionless in space, a new chapter in their relationship was about to begin. 1 month after the battle that never truly happened, representatives from Earth and the Azurian collective gathered on a new space station built halfway between Earth and Mars. The station was designed with areas comfortable for both humans and all 7 species of the collective. Lieutenant Olivia Green, now Ambassador Green, walked through the main meeting hall. After years of studying Azurian language and culture, she was the natural choice to lead Earth's diplomatic team. The hall was filled with delegates from both sides, talking in small groups. It's hard to believe how much has changed in just a month, said Dr. Fisher, who stood beside Green. Understanding changes everything, Green replied. For years they misunderstood us and we knew too little about them. The Whisper network had been partly disconnected as a show of good faith. It remained active only for communication purposes, with all control functions disabled. Humans had proven they could take over Azurian technology but had chosen not to use that power. The Meridian High Commander entered the hall, flanked by representatives from the other 6 species of the collective. His skin was a calm blue color, showing his more relaxed state. Ambassador Green, he said, bowing slightly. We are ready to begin the formal treaty discussions. Green led the way to the large round table at the center of the hall. Humans and Azurians took their seats, no longer divided into opposing sides but arranged in a pattern that mixed both groups together. Admiral Ortiz, representing Earth's defense forces, sat directly across from the Meridian military leader. Captain Frost and Commander Russell were also present, along with Dr. Blackwood and other key figures from the Strategic Deception Initiative. Before we begin, the Meridian High Commander said, I must ask something that many in the collective still wonder. Why did humans choose not to use the Whisper network as a weapon? You could have destroyed our fleet. Green looked to Admiral Ortiz, who nodded for her to answer. Destruction wasn't our goal, Green explained. We wanted understanding. If we had used the network as a weapon, we would have confirmed your worst fears about humanity. Instead, we wanted to show who we really are. Dr. Blackwood added, Our history contains plenty of violence, as you now know. But we've learned that true victory comes from changing the conflict, not just winning it. The Voth representative, a four-armed artist whose skin shifted through pleasant colors, spoke next. Many of us never shared the Meridian's fear of humans. Now even they see that their concerns were misplaced. The Meridian commander's skin darkened slightly, a sign of embarrassment. We were not entirely wrong to be cautious. Your species develops technology at an alarming rate. But we failed to see beyond your military capacity to your true nature. Captain Frost smiled. That was partly our fault. We showed you what you expected to see, ships and weapons. We played into your expectations. A clever deception, the commander admitted. One that will be studied by our strategists for generations. The formal treaty discussions began. The terms were very different from the restrictions the Azurians had tried to impose years before. Now they spoke of trade, cultural exchange, and shared exploration of the galaxy. Outside the meeting hall, the rest of the station buzzed with activity. Human and Azurian scientists worked together, sharing knowledge and technology. The Whisper network, now used openly, allowed for perfect translation between all languages. In one lab, Scott Daniels worked with his friend Vex from the Voth species. They were designing a new communication system that combined human creativity with Azurian crystal technology. I still can't believe you gave me those paintings just to gather intelligence, Vex said, his skin rippling with colors that showed both amusement and fake offense. I gave you the paintings because you genuinely appreciated them, Daniels replied. The intelligence gathering was just a bonus. On the observation deck, Carol Martinez stood with a Meridian engineer looking out at the combined fleet that now protected the station. Human and Azurian ships patrolled together, no longer enemies but allies. Your shield designs are quite impressive, even without the fake weakness, the Meridian said, studying a display that showed the USS Dauntless. Thanks, Martinez replied. Maybe we can work on the next generation together. Your crystal matrices could revolutionize our power distribution. Back in the meeting hall, the treaty discussions continued throughout the day. By evening, the framework for a new relationship between Earth and the Azurian Collective had been established. As the delegates prepared to adjourn for the day, a message came through from Earth. A new Whisper node had activated unexpectedly in the Antarctic Research Facility. Dr. Fisher immediately checked her datapad. That's impossible, she said. All the original crystals are accounted for. The message contained images from the lab. A new crystal had formed in one of the containment units, one that hadn't been there the day before. Dr. Fisher showed the images to Green and the Meridian commander. Has anything like this happened before? She asked the commander. The Azurian studied the images, his four eyes widening. Never. Our crystals are mined, not grown. This is unprecedented. Green looked closer at the images. It looks like a hybrid, part Azurian crystal, part something else. Perhaps, the commander said slowly, this is the first truly shared creation between our peoples. Neither fully human nor fully Azurian, but something new. Word of the new crystal spread quickly through the station. Scientists from both species hurried to study the phenomenon. It seemed that the close interaction between human technology and Azurian crystals had created something entirely new. That evening, Ambassador Green stood alone on the observation deck, looking out at Earth in the distance. Admiral Ortiz joined her there. Quite a view, Ortiz said. Yes, Green agreed. I was just thinking about how differently this all could have ended. If we had built real weapons instead of the Whisper network? Green nodded. Or if we had used the network as a weapon once we had it? That was never the plan, Ortiz reminded her. Humanity has fought enough wars. We wanted something better. They stood in silence for a moment, watching as an Azurian ship and a human vessel passed each other in perfect formation. "They thought our strength was in our ships," Green said finally. "They never considered that human ingenuity works best when we're talking, not fighting," Admiral Ortiz smiled. "And now they know. The real trick wasn't fooling them about our fleet. It was showing them who we really are when we had the chance to destroy them but chose not to." As the Earth rotated slowly in the distance, humanity and the Azurian collective began a new chapter, not as enemies or rivals, but as partners. In the vast unexplored galaxy that awaited them both,